Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures, and it is time for my favorite time of the week, and that is when we bring you our weekly painting progress. And it is very painful at the moment to do this weekly painting progress because, well, it's President's Day weekend here in the United States, which means we don't have to go to work on Monday, which means we have been enjoying a nice dinner and belting out karaoke for the last 2 or 3 hours, and my throat is killing me now because that's all I've been doing, and now I get to film this, so fun times. We're going to start off with the little stuff this week. I put together a bunch of the Solar Auxilia stuff from GW last week, and I figured if I'm going to get to work on them, I probably should finish up the remaining epic size stuff that I had laying around, which were these Adeptus Mechanicus guys of some sort, or supposed to be Martian troopers from KMFP Designs, along with a short guy in tin can armor, which I did not do the greatest job on, and I am now noticing that I did not use even the same colors as I did for one of the little mining guild guy mechs. So I might have to go back and touch those up, right? I probably should. Speaking of touch-ups, I thought I touched up the vampire guy. Ah, there he is. The vampire guy from Raging Heroes. I tried to brighten his armor up a little bit. I think the lines on especially the chest piece were just too finely detailed, but at least it looks brighter. This is totally random, but I wanted to bring him in. Of course, zoomed out, I think he looks a little bit better. We'll keep working on him. Maybe I should go look at the actual CG render to figure out exactly where all that fine detail should be. But eventually we'll get a vampire and bone armor, I promise. Alright, regular size stuff. We had this leftover, I know it's a Fireforge model, and I didn't do a great job on it, and originally you could see where his sword scabbard was glued on him and marred the details of his chainmail there, and I ended up sliding it over afterwards, which was a big whoops. What is this, one of the Almugavares? Almugavar? That sounds right. It looks right. I think that's what he is. Anyway, I went ahead and did him up with like a Frostgrave style base. I don't know where I put the rest of those guys though. I'm like looking around at the table and I think I cleaned up a little bit too well. That's not good. That's not like me. Alright, here's a model that has been sitting on my table for far too long. And that is good old Tingle. From, gosh, which Zelda game? Zelda? I can't talk. My throat is just messed up. Anyway, from one of the Zelda games. I remember he had a DS game, if I recall correctly, though. That I remember playing. Anyway, Tingle comes to us from Erkman's Minis, and if you want a whole Zelda cast, he's got plenty of Zelda-related models at this point for you to peruse. And if you want to peruse as such, then we'll have those links down below, which you can always check out. So yeah, I have broken him at least twice now. Notice how delicately posed on that little foot of his he is. My wife didn't know who he was, and she thought he was from Ninja Hattori-kun, because he's got the little spirally things. And speaking of Ninja Hattori-kun, besides the fact that I need to fix up his nose there, that's kind of splotchy, I was not aware, and neither was she, that there was a live-action Ninja Hattori-kun movie made in 1966 with people in giant, disturbing anime heads. It's really weird. So yeah, those little Uzumaki spiral cheeks definitely make me think of Hattori-kun, which my wife was just busy singing. So yeah. Alright, speaking of other models that have been sitting around on the table, we have this just random OPR... What were they called? The Dynasty of something. I can't even remember. My brain is mush at this point. I've been singing too many tokusatsu songs. But yeah. Really simple paint job. One of the non-mech guys, and I figure he's going to go pretty well with all of the random drones and mechs that I have been trying to get worked through. We actually grabbed a couple and started on this week. We'll get to them eventually. A random Popsicles mini. Totally looking like one of the Gantz players. I'm assuming that's what the idea was. I want to say this was like around the time of the second Cyber Frontier campaign that they did a bunch of like Gantz style suits. None of the aliens, sadly, but Popsicle is always one to count on for cool models. A random Bestiario model. I don't remember what he's called. He was like the Masked Barbarian or something like that. He was from a fairly recent set. Why I went with blue, I don't know. And why none of the skins that he's wearing match each other, I can't answer that question either. But, you know, from a distance he looks okay. Originally wanted to do a like jade mask like the dudes from Warcry. Like they had those kind of green masks, but it didn't look good. So we just went with the boring silver one. This is a cool set he was from. I'm always enjoying those lone hero types from Bestiarum. There's some cool stuff there. March is looking like it's going to be a fun month of models from them as well, which is kind of scary to think that March is already just right around the corner, but it is. And as I was saying, so I've been painting a lot of mechs and droids, and I got a couple of Asterians, plastic Asterians, from Mantic finished up, I guess, since Warpath is now underway. Except they actually match up with a lot of my Piper Makes droids and drones. Which would be fitting since these are supposed to be basically AI remotely piloted things. I don't know where those wings came from, and I don't know if that's like an original part of theirs. I thought I had one on a flight stand as well, but I don't know where I put it. I started tinkering around with a bunch of the droids. Droids or drones, I don't remember which is which, but anyway, they should fit aesthetically with a lot of my other Piper Make stuff, which I happen to have today. So we've got one of the Gobi leaders, and the more I look at him, or it, because it's a robot, isn't it? The more I look at it, I'm pretty sure that I put the head on backwards. I could be wrong. I feel like I put it on backwards. Because it's got like the little... It looks like that could be the front, right? And another R heads that have the antenna facing forward like that, so... I'm not 100% sure, but... It is kind of nice to have all of the drones and mechs all kind of match aesthetically. So I was thinking that even if I didn't end up using them for like 5 parsecs or something, they may end up just getting used as a skirmish force for Frostgrave. And I was thinking, well, I'm going to need a wizard then that's a mech. And that's where this dude comes in. So at some point, I want to say these are the Gobies. There's a ridiculous amount of models that Piper made for the various fish-related figures. But we had these 6-armed, kind of Son Goku-looking, you know, ascended demigod types, which I thought were kind of cool. But I thought this one especially would make a great, like, wizard-type model for Frostgrave. And at this point, considering just... This is just what I've got handy. The various Piper kits. If you haven't had a chance to play with these things, they're all completely compatible with each other. There is just an absolute gobsmacking amount of parts available for just about every kit. And right now, she's making the Void frames, which are kind of like, I guess, an Eldar stand-in for lack of, you know, a more complicated explanation. It's about summing it up pretty quick and concise, but yeah, they're all kind of drone mech things as well, and I know March is looking like some interesting stuff. February has some cool stuff too, but we haven't gotten around to that. And finally, We had, what are these called, like the odas, I believe. It's a little bit glossier than I would like. We'll have to go back and fix it. But I think these were like kind of supposed to be a Vespid stand-in originally, before they just became a out-of-control conglomeration of interesting, funky parts. So you can have these things flying. I chose to have one just on a base. I've had this one sitting unfinished in front of me for ages now. But I figure now is as good of time as any, since we got at least one done. I wanted to kind of go with like original Vespid colors. I always kind of picture them as a lightish blue. But all of my various drone mechs from Pipers at this point are like, each branch has its own little color. So like all of my Gobies are in that kind of light gray, along with the larger tactical suits. I'm going to do the Odantas in blue, and then the Cordidobas, or whatever they're called, are in a darker blue than this, with the kind of orangish musculature muscle stuff in there. But there's a lot of fun kits. And like I said earlier, we will have links to all this stuff. And I'll tell you right now, I am absolutely tired of talking. I cannot wait to go to bed and sleep in tomorrow. So hopefully all of you out there are going to be enjoying yourselves. For those of you who have the weekday off, I was going to say weekend, 3-day weekend. The words are not coming as clearly and concisely as they should at the moment, but that's my fault. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I will let everybody go, and hopefully everybody's going to enjoy their time. I'm going to enjoy my time with my family, and hopefully get a few other models painted up. Unfortunately, I do have grades due right around the corner, so I'm going to be very busy with that. So, as nice as a haul as I managed to finish up this week, I can't guarantee I'm going to have as many next week, and I will try my best to actually take photographs of all this stuff for those of you who are actually interested in my poor painting skills, and get that posted on social media. So yeah. With that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.